off screen, but now I did the other direction. Whatever.
Oh, heck.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop. I hope everybody's having a fine Saturday. It's been a busy Saturday for me, but I'm here and I'm ready to chat with some people.
I worked.
Yeah. For this doc in the chat. We got a bunch of interesting things to talk about. I feel like that's this entire week. And we'll end up with part 4 of D&D 2025, which may kind of become our deeper discussion as has come from me and Worm on some of the other weeks, and Momo can join in that this time.
I won't have much to say. I haven't read it.
I honestly, see some summaries of it here and there, and then, take a deeper dive, around the time of the show. I guess, we have mechanics for the new magic set, Bloomburrow, which are neat.
Saw some of the cards.
But we also have something called a value booster they're putting out, which I want to talk about.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's my thought on it.
Oh, is it? It's another money-making scheme. Cool.
It's another money-making scheme. So anyway, we'll start with mechanics, because that's a nice thing. I'll link it here in chat.
I saw some of the cards for this. The art is nice. At least.
Yeah, it's a cute little set, I don't find anything bad about it.
It's the furry set.
Yeah, it's got, offspring. You can pay an extra mana when you cast a creature, and you just cast a spell, and you get a token.
It's cute. It is very much the furry, and I love it.
Let's see here. There's also...
Kidnap.
Yeah, which has gift ability. You may promise an opponent a gift as you cast a spell. If you do, when it enters, draw a card. So I guess it's there are several different... Okay, so there's several different gifts, but if you gift something to someone, you give an opponent a...
It's a fun mechanic.
Yeah, they've done stuff like that before where you give opponents things.
Or it's just definitely a mechanic that I've seen similar of before, I feel like.
Yeah.
Oh, it's using the food mechanic. When was the food mechanic added? That is old. That was in
Eldraine? Was that
was in the... I know it was in the Fallout Commander decks.
Yeah, I think originally it might have been Eldraine did that. It might have been before there, but I know Eldraine had it, though.
I'm glad Tantus has someone to talk to about
Magic. I don't play Magic often anymore, but I do still keep up with it.
Yeah, same with
but
me.
when
mostly
we
just
talked,
don't
I'm like,
have. Yeah,
that's a pretty card.
I imagine the Magic discussions have been very much Tantus talking to himself.
Worm can offer slight insights that are to bounce off of as someone that doesn't know.
Yeah, I can respond and bounce off, but in some ways it's nice because I have to ask a lot of questions, so it's but I will ask questions and then bounce off of that and be like, wait, so I'm not clueless.
When it's things like we talk about secret layers, where it's the pretty art is most of what a secret layer is.
Yeah, pretty art, and then
doesn't have value,
that's the main thing I look at is the art's nice, but is this worth $30?
But at least when they're doing awful things lately, we can talk about those things because those are universal.
Hell yeah. These mechanics look fine. They look fun.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's just fun little mechanics, nothing too crazy. So I think it'll be interesting stuff. It's just new takes on a lot of stuff they had, which I think is the good thing about a lot of Magic mechanics. A lot of times they're just iterations of the same kind of thing.
I think one of the problems I will say Magic has, because there's so many sets now, is there's a bit of keyword overload.
I will agree.
I've the one time I played Magic, I'm like, what does this do? How does this work?
Yeah, it's like if you look up a keyword, they need to figure out which version of that keyword.
I think it's the thing, too, is that it's both, we do okay, they're taking a different version of something they've already done, but the thing is, you can only do that so many times, and they like to do those things, and so it's
there's, some cool keywords that just never come back, that I feel like kind of should,
Yeah, I think that's also a good thing, too, just come back with some of the stuff. And, you know.
Unless you have to make something new, you could just bring it back.
Yeah. All right, here's the other part of what we want to talk about here.
What's the bad?
The value booster. So the value booster is going to be three commons, 2 uncommons, and a wild card of any rarity. And 1 card that could be a land, a foil, or a special guest card.
So a waste of money.
Yes! Because there's no guaranteed rare in the set, in the value booster.
Dude, I feel like I saw Talar in Community College post about this.
They might have posted on, like, X or something.
I feel like I saw that they said something about this.
I haven't seen anything on, like, I'll probably watch their video when they put it out, but,
they did one on, I think they did one on the fucking Assassin's Creed cards.
Oh, yeah, no.
Which I haven't watched yet.
I watched him, like, do his booster box game for Assassin's Creed cards, and he bought them for 150, and they were selling for, like, 100 by the time he started.
Nice.
Yeah. And none of the boxes get their value back. That's how quickly they're nosediving in value.
Oh, it's so sad.
Because they're not full booster packs,
no.
You know? And the cards are okay. It's just the fact is, like, they're not super great. They're not, like...
But he did do a video on these on the value is 7-card Magic the Gathering booster packs video.
But this one's a little different than those smaller ones.
It's kind of similar, though.
It is similar
in a way.
I think this is worse because most of those smaller, like 7-card packs, similar to the Assassin's Creed packs, usually have a guaranteed rare still.
Yeah.
This doesn't.
This is just a waste of money.
Yeah. You could get one of these special cards that, like, you could get in collector's boosters.
Feels like...
Or a land.
If it was a guaranteed, like... I guess it's a guaranteed foil special... If there wasn't a land, if the land wasn't there, maybe. There would be a guaranteed traditional foil or special guest. But you could just be really unlucky and get a land.
Yeah. But the thing is... Yes, cool. Wild card of any rarity. You could get a mythic rare. You could get a rare. The thing is with that is you could get a 4th common.
Yeah.
Or a 3rd uncommon, which really is going to make these not worth it.
Really
I'm sorry.
I speak of this as someone, personally, who doesn't buy individual packs. I will buy, like, a booster box, usually, if the set interests me enough. I don't think I've ever bought an individual card pack.
Back when I was a lot younger and earlier times in Magic, I would buy individuals, but that's
well, I've never done it for Magic. I've definitely probably done it for Yu-Gi-Oh! When I played Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's like, that would have been me, like, early 2000s, you know... But I think I was still buying some individuals back when I first got back into Magic, around Scars Mirrored In. But even then, that tapered off to just buying boxes pretty quickly.
When did I stop playing Magic? I mean, the last set I bought from was the Kamigawa set, which is a bit old at this point. Well, the new Kamigawa set.
Yeah.
I stopped playing around... Okay, I stopped playing in Theros. Theros was the last set I bought.
So it's just like... Honestly speaking, I'm going to say this. The concept of a more value booster is not a bad idea.
No.
But I would have at least had, maybe, instead of a wild card, just a rare card. That couldn't, like, not a mythic, a rare. Because, you know, those are usually a little bit more mid-priced. You know, some of them are expensive, some of them aren't. And then maybe had, like, the last thing be a land, traditional foil, or special guest card. Because those could have a mythic in it, too.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been a much better value than a wild card of any rarity. You know, just give us a rare, skip out of the mythics.
It really is just gambling at this point.
Yeah. They really are going for the gambling aspect, and they're like, it's value!
Yeah, you slap...
I don't like it.
How much do they cost? Is there a So they revealed a
haven't
price for it
said.
yet? Okay. How much does a magic pack cost? Gathering booster. How much does a booster cost? Just one booster. One booster is
Okay, I can look this up.
$7 at my local game store for one booster, depending on the set. So somewhere between $5 and $10 at my local game store.
So right now, that's a pre-release pack. Okay, so take home pre-release pack. I'm trying to look up to see if anybody's got the. No one has these new packs up. They've got
they're
like
not an Amazon listing yet.
They have the play boosters.
The
play boosters are going for right now. This place has it for $187, which I don't know with the increase in price in Magic if that's good or bad at this point in time. Because it was always $106, but they increased the price. So
yeah, I don't know. I need to know how much these cost before I can be like, this is truly terrible.
If they're very cheap, then no.
Because if they're like a couple bucks, it's like, it's fine. But I still don't see a world where I would buy this over a normal booster pack.
I don't think I would get this pre-release too, because I guess like this is like over $5 and like $4 was single packs before.
Yeah.
With the increase in price for like play boosters, I just don't know if they're worth like this year. I don't know. There's a lot of questions I don't know, but we'll have to find out.
The article doesn't tell a whole lot, other than
they don't
it's kind of not a great value if it's expensive, if it's not like a cheap. Like if it's only like $1 cheaper than a normal pack, it's absolutely not worth it.
Yes, I will agree. Because new packs are pretty expensive anyway. What do we want to talk about? Adventure Path from Paizo, because they've got the player's handbook for the new one out, and it's kind of interesting. It's called Curtain Call. To switch gears completely.
Honestly, it's good. I was just researching the 2024 D&D while you were talking.
That's fine. You getting more research than the rest of us would be great.
I've played in this city before.
Yeah, turns out that Rovinal, the city, the country that had an adventure path based on it, succeeding from Cheliax, is now getting an adventure path in their city, which is fine. Your characters are being asked by a famous director to aid in translating your adventures into an opera. So I guess it's supposed to be like your group of adventurers, so probably a little bit of a higher level one, and you're trying to help create an opera based on your adventures.
I'm looking at the player's guide. Let's see. What does it give a level in here?
11th level characters. They say
that's nice. That's high level. Well, I guess that's technically mid-level.
But that kind of would be a great point in time that you've probably done some heroic deeds, and it might make sense for,
at that point, I mean, at least in first edition, if you would cast legend lore on your items, it would say stuff about you.
Yeah. So it's your 11th level characters who have previously completed an epic campaign, one that saw the defeat of a powerful foe, the group's nemesis. So I guess, like, the person running it would kind of define what that nemesis
assume it would give you, the book might give you some options.
Well,
you don't want to make your own, right?
Part of the idea is Pathfinder has been doing a lot of the short ones, which are 1 to 10 level.
That's true.
So I think this is meant to be like after that you go and do this. So your big foe is probably your last adventure path.
Well, I think they also kind of stated here that like I think you probably could do it. A
step-by-step guide for your group to develop a legacy worth. Okay, so they do give you step-by-steps on what to do and the bullet points down.
And the thing is, this adventure path takes characters to level 20.
Ooh, is that the first time they've done this for
in 3 parts to get to level 20? Though that's a lot of levels, though. So
well, it's starting at 11, so
yeah, it's true. It's starting at 11, so you're already halfway there.
It's nice to see a higher level. The higher end Pathfinder second edition, because my experience with second edition is 3 games. And then I've read the GM guide. That's it.
They give all the normal suggestions for these for classes and ancestries and things.
Let's see. What are they recommending? I'm gonna assume Bard is straight up like recommended. Be weird if it wasn't. Oh, what a shock! Strongly recommended. Bard, Rogue, Swashbuckler, Strange.
Mm-hmm. And they got a whole bunch of
the charisma people.
Too. Yeah.
Ancestries all.
Like a gazetteer for the city as it currently is, which is pretty cool. Update on the city. Okay, here. Who was your nemesis? So they do act as if you can just dive in here. So you could play through
They obviously allow that as an option.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying that, like, I think what they're doing now is they're breaking, like, they're doing 3 books that cover 10 levels, basically. So it's like, I don't know if they've done one that's 5, and although they have done level, like, 4-book ones that, or I think they've done 1 4-book one. I think it's just Seasons of Ghosts.
They've done a few that, well, they don't always do from 1 to 10, 11 up. I've seen them kind of pop up in different, like, points. But having a few of these that are very, like, easy to do also aren't bad, that they kind of fit together. I think that's...
originally, originally at the start, that was the case. But I feel like more recently they've been stopping at 10 and then having other ones that start at 11, so you can mix and match a little bit more.
Yeah, they might have. I have not...
Yeah, it does mention here, if your group is playing Current Call as a continuation of a 1st through 10th level adventure path published by Paizo, then serve these questions as already answered. So, yeah, there's the option of just using that there.
No, I'm taking a look there. Okay, so
I've been researching adventure paths to figure out which ones, like, I want to run, because I want to run one on my channel. And that's why I know this. They're generally the way they split it up now is you generally get to level 10 after 3 books.
11.
I think they
do. Have a lot of them.
11, you're right.
They
finish at level 11, yeah.
They do have some, like, ones that are outside of that, but 1 to 11 does exist in a bunch of places.
Yes.
There's also, a 4 to 11 for one of them, too.
Yeah, the first few are a lot less consistent, and then, like, afterwards, they start to be a lot more consistent in levels.
Well, I mean, like, Wardens of Wildwood, which is the one right before here, was 5 to 15. So I think that I think that's what they're gonna... Most of them are going to be that 1 to 11, or something to 11, or 11 to something else. I think, like, what you're saying. Yeah, but we're gonna see some, like, occasional ones that are kind of, like, different or in the middle, just to spice things up.
So I read somewhere that they're experimenting with different level gauges, basically 5. They're, like, doing some they're planning to do some that are, like, 5 to 15, 1 to 10. So they're basically trying to, I think, keep it in chunks of 5. Is what it sounded like, but they're kind of trying to experiment with different level ranges just to kind of give experiences for GMs and players who want different starting power levels.
Okay.
Which is a neat idea, I think.
The next 2 adventure paths also seem very cool. There's one where which is really nice. I like it because I feel like that's a group that needed to be developed. Like, they gave Hobgoblins the stories of the Ironfang Legion. Triumphs of the Tusk is going to be the Orcs of Belkazin. Basically, opening diplomacy, burying old grudges in order to create an alliance to help fight the Whispering Tyrant. So that's kind of cool. And then the next one after that is Spore War, which is the elves finally trying to get rid of Tree Razor, the horrible demon that plagued them since they basically have been in their home nation. That's cool. Tree Razor. Anyway, that current call seems cool. Definitely you could jump into it from 11th level if you just want to do that, or do a full adventure path. They've got a lot of options to do an adventure before here from the selections. Alright. Let's hop on to the next thing. And I did want to talk about this because this is interesting. It was hard to talk about, like, to give a title. To give a title, that's what I wanted to say. Mm-hmm. So the entire article was one from In World, where apparently Monte Games has announced that they're giving a fund for Cypher System creators, the content creators. but they're creating like a crowdfunding for this kind of thing. So, what is this here? It's announced the launch of the Cypher System Creation Fund. This program is meant to be meant for streamers for content creation. The Cypher System, particularly live stream games on the they won it on the new Moonbeam, which I'll talk about, which was the next topic after here.
Okay.
Which is the new streaming service specifically for tabletop games.
Oh.
So they're paying people to be on there, basically.
Neat.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's a grant. So that's what I thought. You said it was like crowdfunding. No, it's a grant. So they're paying people.
I misunderstood because it's crowdfunding for Moonbeam that's occurring.
Okay.
Yeah. The streaming service is getting crowdfunded. But yes.
And they're giving a grant to people to be on Moonbeam.
Yeah. They're basically trying to encourage creators to then, I guess, put stuff on Moonbeam.
Yeah.
I guess they maybe have a stake in its creation or something? I don't know. I can understand, though, like...
I'm trying to remember what Monte Cook has.
Monte Cook is...
Like, they have the Cypher system. Is that it?
That's it, yeah.
I think
Oh, really?
Their thing is Cypher, which has a bunch of games for it.
Yeah.
Seriously, the big one that I know of is the Old Gods of Appalachia uses the Cypher system.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Cypher is like a kind of system agnostic thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, like Monte Cook Games has done some great things over the years, so I understand.
Or setting agnostic is what I meant.
They're setting agnostic. It's the thing that we like. Yes, I am currently, as of recording this, live on Twitch with people,
Yes.
but there really isn't a lot of options other than maybe Twitch or YouTube.
YouTube is sometimes better.
Yeah, I mean, the one good thing about doing, like, other streaming services other than Twitch is that most of them, except Twitch, allow you to multi-stream on different sites all at the same time.
Twitch actually allows you to do YouTube streaming and Twitch streaming at the same time now.
Yeah, a lot of people do both right now.
They allow that now.
Yeah.
Wow, when did that change?
Like a couple months ago, I think.
Yeah, okay, that
is
about
towards the beginning of the year. It was like towards the beginning of the year. Because
pretty recent still.
Yeah, it's been going on.
I mean, probably because they're losing people to YouTube because people can't do YouTube and a lot of other things. And YouTube is the best for discovery. Yeah, YouTube's really good for discovery and in a lot of ways, but the chat is kind of...
I'm gonna say...
the worst.
The
chat is the worst.
I'm gonna say the thing, and I've said this before, I've said this multiple times, I'll continue to say it. If there comes a day where YouTube develops a good chat feature, Twitch is actually going to die.
Yep.
Because Twitch is a terrible website.
Yeah, no. Literally the only thing, and this is what's most annoying in my opinion, the only thing that makes you go above other people is your number of viewers.
Yes.
In a search.
That's it.
And that's their algorithm. It's stupidly simple, but I mean, that's why there's so many people trying to advertise for Twitch bots and such.
Twitch
because
is
it's like
an unsustainable, terrible website that eventually is going to end because they can't keep up forever.
I mean,
I would hope they would figure something out and fix
the main thing is Amazon keeps it afloat because it feeds into Amazon Prime because you get your Amazon Prime stuff from Twitch. That's the main reason why Amazon bought it.
Yeah, but the one thing I was gonna say is that something they started to do years ago and then stopped, and I don't know why, was try and go kind of more into the YouTube route and like do uploads and stuff. To where you can just upload VODs and keep VODs, and then also do non-streamed content and upload that stuff as well. And they just decided to stop it for some reason. Like
it's still technically there. They just don't have support for it.
It was probably costing too much money on their end, which is why they stopped it. Because Twitch hosting one Twitch stream is already astronomically expensive for the company.
Like, you can still, like, archive your stuff as a VOD or upload stuff if you wanted to. It's just there really isn't a lot of discovery or any reason for it, necessarily.
Yeah, the biggest issue and why I am against archiving your stuff on Twitch is because, and this has happened to a number of streamers, your old VODs, if they have music in them, will just get DMCA'd. And that's a big problem. That's a bigger problem on Twitch than it is on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, I don't store my VODs anymore. I download everything to upload to YouTube at some point.
It's better to have a VOD channel on YouTube.
Yeah, I think I might do that too. I've been having I for the longest time have been kind of saving things on Twitch, but I might just clear out the old stuff. And just
better to download it and then upload it to your VOD channel manually.
Yeah. That just is like so kind of.
It's an extra step.
Lazy. I'd also have to make a thumbnail.
Yeah.
I mean, the best is to record it, then upload it, because that allows you to... Anyway, we should move on. We're talking about...
That's technical
stuff.
But
speaking of streaming services, hey, here's this article on Moonbeam.
I am all for Moonbeam existing if it works out. I hope it does. Because currently, there are 3 big streaming platforms. YouTube, which has a terrible chat system. Twitch, which has a lot of issues. And Kick, which is owned by a gambling company.
Other people have tried, but just never get there. And there's some other ones that are like.
There's that one that was like, there's Facebook Live or whatever that's called.
God, Facebook Live. I think that's died. I think that's still around, but I don't think anyone's
it's still around.
It. Yeah.
And then you've also have Microsoft has one. I forget what that's called.
Microsoft's one died.
Oh, did it?
Mixer
it officially died.
Mixer died.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Fortunately, just isn't a lot of.
It's just very. It's unfortunately just very expensive to host streaming platforms.
Yeah, but yeah. So basically, you need a lot of interaction for it to start to become reasonable.
So hopefully, this will kind of get things into. Maybe we'll see what they do. We'll see what it is.
I hope it works. They promise 100% of it's a crowdfunded thing, which is a neat idea. I don't know how sustainable that is.
Going to creators.
I don't know how sustainable that is.
I agree.
That's the main problem with this. Is this just going to be like a flash in the pan kind of deal?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think with that line there, I'm curious as to their the way they work for their funding and stuff like that. That I'm curious as, because there's a lot of ways that could work, but I don't know what they're doing, and I guess I look at their back and can learn about it. Maybe they mentioned something there.
It's got some weight behind it. I'm just gonna say that there are a lot of big companies behind it, like Gen Con, and obviously Monte, Evil Hat Productions as well.
They've hit their original goal. Because they just wanted $10,000 in startup, it seems like, and they've got $44,000 on there, and they're going till August 9th. So it's quite a while. But I would want to break this down really deeply, see what I think about it.
There are I've gone down to the monetization bit specifically, because that's the part that interests me the most, is how they will handle monetization. Okay, so. There are moonstones, which I guess are bits, basically, more or less.
Okay, so they're doing like a bits kind of thing.
There's subs, and then the revenue split is what I want to see.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, so this is interesting. This is kind of fun. Moonbeam values all creators equally, whether you're a streamer, producer, moderator, or video editor. We offer a transparent way to collaborate. When you stream, you can also attach collaborators and set transparent revenue splits among all participants of the stream.
Oh,
yeah.
That's cool.
Also, there's a sort of... Okay, this is kind of interesting. There's a sort of almost Discord-esque system that allows people to interact off when you're not live.
Okay.
Well, wait. Maybe I'm misunderstanding this.
Because they do have like a higher tier, like a YouTube plus Twitch. That thing where it's the subscription service to the entire site. They do have that.
Okay, I think it's more the realm thing. I think is more just that I thought it was like it says a community hub where you can chat via text and enjoy live streams or other video content together. I thought that was kind of saying a YouTube thing, but maybe it's on your channel you create a realm community hub. So it seems like maybe it's more for like group streaming, or allowing people to like share a channel. I'm not. That's a little confusing to me.
I think the idea of the collaborator stuff at least is that there's someone that like has an owner of the channel, but has people that work for them, and you basically can give them a percentage of stuff by working for them. Like if you have like certain moderators or like video editors, and basically rather than giving them a set pay, you give them a percentage of what you would earn through the channel.
See. Yeah, and I see what they mean by like they get 100%. So basically, people will buy moonstones at like $10 for 750, but the 750 will fully go to the streamer, which I think is how bits are kind of done already.
Yeah, I don't know the exact revenue on the bits though.
Unless, yeah, although bits might be, you get a portion. Do you get a portion of bits, or do you get all the bits?
You get all of bits technically, because
that's what
Twitch is taking their cut when you pay them.
Yeah,
that's
also, since we're talking about monetization, Chad, I want to do a PSA really fast. If you have the Twitch mobile app, never purchase anything on there because it'll be $1 more.
No, do not. Yep. And I think it's like $2 more, or like $2 or $3 more on like Xbox and PlayStation.
Only ever purchase things on web browser on a non-mobile device, because app stores take a cut of everything you pay there, so it is more expensive to buy it there.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. I guess we can kind of keep an eye out on it and see.
I hope this doesn't just disappear, because I am of the opinion that Twitch, even if it's competition in one very specific niche genre of streaming, Twitch needs actual competition, because Twitch is never going to improve unless there exists.
Agreed.
Yeah, there's YouTube, but again, YouTube
they're too different. Like so YouTube,
they're way too different.
Yeah, YouTube focuses. That's why I was really excited when they started doing that like VOD thing on Twitch, because I'm like, oh, they could actually start competing with each other as YouTube picks up streaming, and they pick up VODs. Then they could start actually becoming right now. They gave up on VODs, and then YouTube gave up on streaming. It's like they got the bare bones of streaming on YouTube.
YouTube's kind of getting back into the streaming game. They've made some improvements on the video player, but not so much the chat feature.
There's a bunch of features that are very popular on Twitch that they really haven't done stuff with, so it's kind of like this weird spot for it.
I prefer YouTube streams because YouTube has a better video player than Twitch does. But I like the chat interactions on Twitch.
Yeah.
It's this weird thing of like, it's kind of like this mixed bag of where I'm kind of at with it. It's like I like parts of both of them, so I just don't. I personally, just because I've always been streaming on Twitch, that's probably where I'm going to kind of stay for now, and I haven't really decided if I would dual stream. That's something I considered, but
dual streaming is resource intensive, to be fair.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I don't know if I want to necessarily draw those resources.
I'm gonna look into it and see if I can.
I honestly believe you should, because you should.
Yeah.
The biggest thing about making profit in anything is diversification. You should diversify where you contribute from.
Would that just be then like?
Because you certainly have YouTube viewers who do not open Twitch channels.
Yeah.
In fact, I feel like you have more YouTube viewers who don't open Twitch than you have Twitch viewers.
God, yeah. No.
Be that way.
Then the question is like, where would you stream it to? Then is also the question.
Yeah,
because
it's a hard thing to decide.
With variety content, which I have on Twitch, it doesn't really help for the algorithm for my main channel. Because they like you to be like kind of set on one thing. And yes, I have a bunch of different types of things, but they're all tabletop related. They're all in the tabletop sphere. That's why I feel like it's fine. On Twitch.
Your gaming stuff, the issue you would have essentially when you play video games might tank your channel.
Yeah.
Because that's happened to other people.
Yeah. That's why don't know if I can send that kind of thing to.
That's why a lot of
YouTube very
people
well.
have multiple channels on YouTube. They don't tank them all by their variety content.
Oh yeah, is there some kind of like
I'll-
Twitter streaming thing now?
That's new, and I have like not seen anyone do it.
It seems terrible.
Sounds
I mean,
terrible,
it's
honestly.
Twitter. It's gonna be terrible.
Yeah. Let's keep going. We got a couple more topics. So, this was an interesting discussion that I ran into that I wanted to bring up at very least because it's sort of like... It's something that is good to discuss, but it also just makes me shake my head. And this is another article that I saw.
Yes,
and there's a lot of discourse on this apparently, and I'm just like...
The D&D history book leaves out the fact that Gary Gygax is kind of a shitbag.
Yeah.
Gary Gygax had some pretty not okay opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it was the 70s, you still could talk about the opinions a person held in the time that they were alive.
Well, like according to the person that put something out, the authors do mention some of the things that they had which were kind of bad. But they're like, but it was, that was then. We've gone beyond that kind of stuff,
Unfortunately, it's a very important part of D&D history. And
Yeah.
it should be talked about and mentioned.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, it puts things into. Honestly, I feel like it's important for context.
Yeah.
It's the thing that, like, we can't hold any of the creators, Gary Gygax or any others, in, like, a pedestal. The thing is, people are people, and I don't think, there haven't been, like, well, one of his children, yes, but Gary Gygax himself, there haven't been enough actual stories of being super awful, not a great person.
I want to point
Sure.
out, and this article does go into it, people will often go like, oh, he's just a product of his time. Gygax was criticized for his opinions at the time.
Yeah.
His opinions were not widely held.
This article has a excerpt from a fanzine where Gygax talks about, being accused of, during his time, of being an old sexist male chauvinist pig, which again, it's the thing that we have a picture of Gary Gygax as maybe not a great guy. There's certainly a lot of more awful people out there. So you can say, well, he did create this, there's some great things about it, but, I don't know if he's necessarily the person... It's that hill of... Is he the type of creator that you want to argue separate the artist from the art? I don't necessarily think so, because I don't think, I think he wasn't great, but I'm pretty sure there are people that would have been, much more extreme in a lot of stuff here.
Oh, God, there's people making shit now who are much more extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very much someone who believes that, you can have terrible people do good things, and you can have good people do terrible things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why I dislike the whole cancel culture that happens a lot right now. But
Agreed.
where it's like, oh, that person said one bad thing that's been taken completely out of context, we should ruin their life.
The internet's very bad at that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Really bad at that.
Yeah, but ultimately, you also shouldn't, so the idea of, you can, in a way, separate art from the artist, I think is fine. In addition, though, you shouldn't, though, it does influence it, so you should address it, so people know.
I will say the separate the art from the artist only works if they have passed away, because otherwise you are still funding that artist, and they're kind of terrible.
True. At least at this point in time, we know that Gary Gygax isn't connected to D&D really anymore.
No, he's, died.
Not only dead, but it was.
He also sold it off. So
he sold it off. So yeah, we can recognize that he originally created D&D. That's a great thing, but he maybe not he had a lot of ideas that didn't really even mesh well, particularly during that time period. Maybe. No, was it anything I don't want to say this badly, but I want to just kind of say it the way that looking at old editions, certainly you can see things which aren't great, but nothing that slaps you in the face.
Read
particularly.
Drow lore.
Okay, Drow Lord's really bad. Okay, I'll agree with that. Old Drow Lord's really
Old
bad.
Drow lore is straight up pretty racist.
Yeah, I think it's like. I think the thing is,
now
what I'm
the question
kind of
is
like
it
on the
racist? The problem is there's like two types of racists, and I obviously have no idea. But it's like, is it the type of racist where it's like these people are racist, and we're kind of pointing that out, or is it the kind of racist that's making it out to be a good thing?
Well, they are dark-skinned people who are cosmically evil in older editions, which is
okay, that's
kind
what you
of
mean by that.
bad. Also, old orc lore was pretty bad, but for different reasons.
there's a lot of old lore which is not great, I think, and it's sort of like we can walk away from it or improve it to make it. I think because the thing is, it's not great because it also, to a degree, isn't realistic. I think that's why, like, I've enjoyed a lot more of the updates people like Paizo are putting into that kind of versions of the old lore they've been based off of, rather than what D&D. D&D just, like, Wizards as it is now, wants to ignore that stuff that exists. Paizo kind of acknowledges it, but says, like, here's why it would work in, like, a realistic kind of sense of, like, a real society.
Paizo also has the advantage of their lore largely is newer and has a lot of less terrible things in it.
True.
Yeah. And, like, I think an important thing that people, like, don't think about is, like, whatever you agree or disagree should be in an RPG. The important thing, I think, is that it's accessible to everyone, because what most people do to get into RPGs is they basically play some variety of themselves. That's 99% of what people start with. So you need all those options there. You need to address it, because otherwise those people won't feel welcome. They won't be able to start.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to include that stuff for that reason.
Yeah. So, like,
whatever your opinion on it, you know?
Again, it's... The game itself has evolved a lot. We just have to recognize it came from a place that was a definitely mixed bag, and that we understand that the people that created it were certainly not perfect, and may have indeed been kind of awful people. You know,
okay, I think that's a little extreme. They had good and bad aspects to them. A lot, like everyone. You know, they weren't bad people.
I said kinda. That's what I meant, like, by kinda. Like, they had some kind of, like, kind of aspects to them, but they weren't, like, you know...
I mean,
they could have been a lot worse.
Look at everyone close enough, you'll find something bad about them. But I agree, their view on women was terrible.
View on a lot of things was terrible, to be fair. But it also was the 70s.
I think it's a combination of they weren't really great people for the time period. They weren't the worst people for the time period, but it's also the time period.
Yeah,
so
there were worse people who existed. I want to be clear. My whole thing is this should be talked about because it was part of who Gary Gygax is. It is part of what old D&D was.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be brushed under the rug. It should be forefront and talked about so you can learn from it.
Yep.
It's sort of like you can have people that you know who have really awful opinions and really awful ideas, and you're just kind of like, but like if let's say they're like, you know, family or something, you can't get rid of them. Then there's those people that like preach it and go extreme on those kind of ideas.
Yeah.
Gary Gygax doesn't seem to be on that end. He's kind of on that kind of like, you know, it's like your racist grandfather or something, or sexist grandfather in this case.
He did write some pretty awful stuff into his rules, so yeah, it's like an iffy thing, right?
Yeah. Just
I do want to point out that, as the article mentions, there is a book for old D&D that has a raping and pillaging rule set.
Yeah.
So, like, again, he had some pretty bad opinions, but he also had some good ones.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is you can have people who are very
people
bad
can
in one area
write
and very good
bad
in different areas.
things.
And the thing is, too, we have to consider what was his idea for fantasy. You know, because that's what him and the people that rated it had a version of what they believed was fantasy that they brought about here. And it could have been, like, you know, one that's, you know, based on those, like, Conan books and stuff, which are very kind of
That's actually where a lot of them came. A lot of their inspiration came from was those kind of books.
Yeah, those books are kind of iffy.
Old fiction used to be very raunchy. Fiction used to be very raunchy, not okay.
Yeah. So it makes it. I mean, it makes sense that using that as inspiration, they were into that kind of thing.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean they didn't build it and grow on it and open it up to people to grow on it to take that stuff away. And
I mean, Wizards did a really great job originally. I don't know if that's again I say
do an okay job.
They've done an okay.
It's
job.
just unfortunately a lot of. I understand why Wizards has tried to erase old D&D lore, because truly, if you read old lore, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Although I think they still put everything up on their store on.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, so it's you can still go and look
at it. They don't hide
it,
but they're just not going to include it in new books, which I think is fine.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason why they're moving away from having a main setting, just giving example settings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, they don't own a bunch of settings that they use.
Yeah. Do they own Greyhawk?
Yes, they do.
Forgotten Realms.
They own parts of Forgotten Realms.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because it's weird stuff with
Forgotten Realms has a lot of hands in it.
Yeah.
But Greyhawk, I think they do fully own. Same with Ravenloft.
Yes.
That makes Ravenloft. Yeah, I think was.
I need the TSR stuff they fully own.
I mean, I think it's just the fact that a lot of things like Dragonlance and Forgotten Realms got a lot of other media to create it and stuff like that. A lot of the Drix books and the Dragonlance books that help develop those worlds a lot more than
I
just
would love some Dragonlance world books.
It's my favorite setting.
Didn't we get the one that was kind of bad?
We got 2 Dragonlance books.
Did we?
Yeah, Fizbin and then another, and then there's Dragonlance Adventure.
That's right.
Yeah, Fizbin is a Dragonlance setting book.
Oh.
Yeah, all that dragon stuff is for specifically Dragonlance.
I think Fizbin was fine because it was just about the dragons, and I think.
And then there was an adventure path.
Oh yeah, the adventure was fine. It was just an adventure, so it really didn't delve deep into the actual setting too much.
Because Fizbin.
Honestly, I bought Fizbin just because it was dragon.
Because Fizbin is a Dragonlance character who is also Bahamut.
Oh, you know what? That makes sense, because I know Draconians are in this book, and they're a specifically Dragonlance thing. So
the book has a very funny joke in it on one of the pages where it's Fizbin talking about Bahamut and saying how he's the best and greatest dragon. Bahamut is Fizbin.
Oh.
They're the same character.
The only bad part about Dragonlance are Kender.
Yes. That is the worst part of Dragonlance. I think everyone agrees with that.
Yeah.
It's just because they work as a race in books, but they don't work in a game. It's literally just an excuse for a player to be a thief, steal from people, and then get away with it.
They do have also Spelljammer and Dark Sun, but they
I don't think they should bring Dark Sun back. I'm gonna be real.
They're not gonna do it right. They did it 4th edition. I've been reading through the 4th edition books because I was doing videos on it, and 4th edition did a good job of bringing it back and modernizing it without.
It's mostly the problem of Dark Sun doesn't fit with what 5e is.
That I definitely agree with.
You know what? Yeah, that's a good way. That's a good point.
That's why they should just never do it. It would not mesh with what 5e is mechanically.
5e, well, yeah, because 5e is a heroic epic fantasy, and Dark Sun is not heroic epic fantasy.
It's a dark apocalyptic fantasy. Because that's what it was. It's a world, a dying world of deserts where you're in the last bastion of civilization, ruled over by dark sorcerer kings who want to become dragon gods.
Yeah, and if you cast magic, your life is forfeit.
Just because they kill anybody that uses magic, because they're the only ones that are allowed to use it. Arcane magic.
So that's why it's
but they also technically bust on divine magic. Are it's the stuff of witches and stuff. Don't use that. But then they have some of their servants use it. But a lot of psionics too. It's an interesting setting. It's a very dark setting. It's a very awful setting with a lot of terrible things happening there. So keep that in mind. It's a world that doesn't shy away from it. If you want a dark fantasy world, We do have them. It's just that
you're gonna have to adapt them from others, from past settings.
Yeah, but again, 5e's spirit of stuff doesn't really work very well. Too. So.
You can do it though.
You could do a 5e Dark Sun just adapting the world. You know, you just have to figure out a way to like work with it. You know, there are stories you could probably tell of like fighting the adversities and stuff like that. Because hey, one of the city-states did have their Sorcerer King overthrown and murdered because he was very evil and oppressive. It was kind of hard. Anyway, let's talk about the last non-D&D topic. And I wanted to talk about this one just briefly because it was funny. And Modiphius has brought us Star Trek Adventures Space Megafauna.
Ooh.
I just like the idea because they do have occasionally like Star Trek like weird space growing like creatures and stuff like that. So I like the idea it's like a space megafauna book. Strange life forms that have found the way through space. It's free. It's mission briefs, so it's like suggestions for adventures and stuff and information, that kind of thing. You still have to kind of build your own adventure out of it, but it's like little bits that you can use to it. But, look, they sold me on just the title Space Megafauna. Not gonna lie. Are you ready to talk about 2024 again? D&D? Everybody ready?
Sure. I don't know anything about it.
Did we talk about Monk the other week? I don't remember. Where's that out?
Couldn't tell you.
Worm, do you remember if we talked about Monk at all? I think we...
No, we did not.
We did. So
I do not think we did.
Okay, so this week we got Monk, Cleric, Bard, and Sorcerer. I think that's all the classes now have been put out on... They put out videos for them and put them out on D&D Beyond. I guess I'll go in order of release, kind of, and start with Monk. I'll link that here. So, Monk. There's some things that have boosted it. It's not a lot of boost. Let's see here. They've done some changes to like martial arts now. Your dice starts as a D6.
At a D6 instead of a D4. I'm very happy about that, honestly.
Makes it actually useful. Basically, there's a lot more weapons that are monk weapons if you want to use those. You can use dex instead of strength to grapple or shove now. So yeah, they've definitely improved the monk's ability to do a lot of those things. Great. Key points are now monk's focus. Whatever on the name change, I don't give crap. You get that at level 2, and that's where you find a lot of their main abilities now. They have been, at least Patient Defense and Step of the Wind have been buffed. Basically, you get an ability from both of them without spending your focus points. And if you spend a focus points, you get an extra bonus. Like Patient Defense, you can disengage the bonus action, or you can spend a focus point to disengage and dodge. Step of the Wind, you can dash, or you can spend a focus point to disengage and dash. So, yeah. Bonuses now, and I think Flurry of Blows.
That's honestly very good. So now they're very similar to because the worst part about this was that like a rogue literally got those for free.
Yeah.
Disengage, dash, and hide as like bonus actions.
Yeah.
And now they can disengage and dash, or they can also do like a disengage dash or a disengage dodge.
Yeah. So
super defense or just honestly run away, or just move. I mean, moving to another thing. I think that's good. I think that's a good way of doing it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good thing. Well, I think the disengage and dash, I feel like would be, because disengage is really just not incurring attacks of opportunity. It's really like re-maneuvering. I feel like Step of the Wind might allow you to like re-maneuver to like another place and stuff. That would.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, Step of the Wind allows you to get across the map if like your friend's down or something, or whatever.
Like you could get away from the enemy you're fighting and go help someone else or something like that. You know.
Yeah, or go to flank if you need to, because disengage allows you to fully move around. You know.
handbook just so I have a reference point too for this, because that's something I should remember to do. Have the old sheet referenced too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm trying to think about when. Do you ever get key points regain at a short rest, or is that completely new?
Uncanny metabolism, I think it existed in some way, but I have to look up when it was. It's a new feature. It's a new feature at level 2, allows you to regain.
Wait, sorry, I spaced out. What was the question?
Uncanny metabolism. So
is there anything that gave you key points at a short rest, or?
Well, this.
Oh, sorry. Regain once per long rest. Regain all focus point. So, is there any way to like regain focus?
Okay. Oh no. Well, this one's a different one. I think there was, but this one is once per long rest. When you roll initiative, you can regain all your focus points.
That's new.
Yeah, I think, and when you use that feature, you also regain hit points equal to your monk level plus a roll of your martial arts.
Yeah, key is just short rest.
Key is just short rest. So that means, but now you can do 2. Like if you have like 2 tough fights, you can regain all of them.
If you can't even short rest, you can like roll initiative and get back some stuff.
Yeah.
It also gives you some hit points, so it's not.
So that's very nice if you got that surprise. Like, oh gosh, I just beat Solasta today. I was all like, I literally had to restart like a fight because they made it sound like this was going to be this one big fight. And then they did another fight after that, and I'm like, I spent all my resources because I thought this was the end. You literally made it out like this was the end. So I had to redo that fight to spend less resources so I could actually make it through the second fight.
Deflect attack
stuff like
sounds
good.
good. Yeah, deflect attack. It's not like that's something that's probably a lot more not going to be used very often because honestly, that doesn't come up a lot where you can't short rest.
It's not useful a lot, but when it is useful, it's really useful.
Yes, I will agree. So it's
one of those.
It's an occasional thing. It's not bad, but it's an occasional thing. Now deflecting is not just missiles; it's also any attack. Bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage. And you reduce the damage. If you reduce it to 0, you can use a focus point to redirect the attack, which is kind of cool. That you can like send the attack somewhere else if you reduce it to 0.
Yeah, and this allows you to do that cool thing where it's like you can like, dodge and like let a friend punch his neighbor, which is kind of always fun.
Mm-hmm.
And for the melee one.
Warrior of Mercy is pretty much the same as it was in Tasha's Cauldron. Warrior of Shadow has been upgraded in some interesting ways, but there's some other stuff that's just like it's fine. Let's see here. I think it's just like the point is to be like hiding in dim shadow, and there's like there's an ability that there's I kind of have to like look into it again. Like I've heard about this one. You get darkness and minor illusion. You can shadow step without dim light eventually. And you can eventually go invisible. So, interesting things. Warrior of the Element we'll talk about in a minute because there's another article all about the changes to Warrior of the Elements. Yeah. And Open Hand is largely unchanged, which is the one I used, which was fine. I think that's the entire thing. Wholeness of Body is also now a bonus action. Big plus, that you don't have to use an action for it. To heal yourself with that one. I'll give that a part bump.
I don't remember what Quivering Palm did. Is that in the base? Open Hand. Sorry. Yeah, but what did Quivering Palm?
Quivering Palm, I think just killed someone, and now it does it. And now it just does damage. So it's technically worse, but also it's like it's fine.
So basically. If the creature fails, it's reduced to 0. So it's not dead, but it's reduced to 0.
Yeah, I mean like.
Yeah.
Or it takes 10d10 to
cause
damage on fail.
Like that's something that's
a 17th level thing, so it's like.
Well, I think that's the thing I can say about it. I don't think that needed to be nerfed, but it was, and it's not like a terrible nerf necessarily. It's a lot of damage.
Well, that's the thing is. you literally could take out a boss in one hit if they fail this save.
Yeah, I understand why they did it.
Well, so that's why they get bosses legendary resistances.
That's what actually I heard someone say about
There's a hard counter of that in D&D already.
Yeah, and that's...
But...
And they also made it more expensive than it was. It was 3 points, and it's now 4 points for a little bit more damage, but also like save for half damage when it just used to be reduced to 0 or a set number of damage if they made their save. So that's just kind of worse. I don't know. A lot of the other things have been buffed, so it's kind of like.
Yeah, but also at level 17. You have how many keys?
Oh, I don't know if they've changed the chart for it, but if we go by what they originally
17
had...
keys. So yeah, you could basically do that every turn until like the thing finally fails.
But yes, you would have enough quivering palms to make it go for quite a while against legendary resistances. But the thing is, again, like legendary resistances that they fail to save. That's just the question is. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's like, but like, let's say they have a 50-50 chance of failing. You only have to do it 6 times, and you have more than enough for that.
Actually, 6 times would be more than what you'd have, because that would be 18 and 17.
That's fair, but
it still is. That's a lot of attempts at it. Yes, I agree on that one. So it's like it is like a weird issue of like. I don't know the balancing of it or not. I think we can just see how it works with the new one, if the other abilities, if it's better or not. I never got to that level to even try to use that, so I don't know.
And that's the thing is, but also you also got to remember with that many uses, I think through a group of small enemies and then short rest.
The thing I heard someone say though was, that's the level that a wizard would get Wish. And other really powerful 9th level spells. So 9th level spell that I don't know.
Wish has so many caveats in 5e.
It does not too. It's that kind of weird place of being. And
honestly, if it had a drawback beyond just spending key, I might be okay with it. But I don't know. It feels, especially for a game about combat.
I feel like
just kill something outright.
I feel like
if you don't kill the main boss, you can kill all of its minions.
But I mean that like for the stunning strike though, it's like because the wizard really only gets like the one 9th level spell, which can be very powerful. Maybe make it like that rather than like they can only use it once per long rest or something. They get one attempt that could be really cool, and they might have to use up that legendary resistance or something. But I don't know. I think it's the entire thing is we know that after everything with the OGL, because I don't think I had known much about this until I saw someone talking about this earlier this week. I forgot all about the Unearthed Arcana they had right before the OGL stuff, where they had stuff that was completely different. They had been actually working on like a 6th edition before they screwed the pooch. So that's a backpedal. And then they've spent a year and a half, or maybe say basically a year, building what we have now. So, like, we got to live with what they got.
I don't think it was ever going to be a full 6th edition. Let's be real.
Actually, by the stuff that we saw beforehand, it probably would have been. Like the Unearthed Arcana that they were testing out.
I still doubt. It's more from a corporate standpoint. I don't think they would have called it that because they didn't want to. There was a lot of things they didn't want to do, and they wanted to keep things compatible. They wanted to keep sales potential.
What I'm saying is, if you see what that Unearthed Arcana was and what they were planning with it, what they were testing out, that was not compatible stuff. Unearthed Arcana,
I'm literally loading up Unearthed Arcana right now.
List. This would have been 2022? Maybe?
Anyway, we can move on. I'm not like...
we can finish talking about it anyway. Stunning Strike's just once a turn now. To get the stunned condition. I mean, that was like that was the kind of grossest thing about a monk is that you could just spend 1 billion points on it. I don't know. I'm kind of like,
yeah. I mean, if successfully applied, the stun condition now ends at the start of your next turn rather than the end. Oh, actually, no, that's very good because literally, the fact that you just had to hit and then you spend the key and then it worked.
They had to check. It was a save. It was a save.
Was it okay? There was a save.
It was a save.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
I mean,
it could still be pretty broken.
It could. Well, I don't think it was necessarily too broken. I think the problem was, which I think is a good point, is it was 1 billion fucking saves that something would happen in, and that can just bog down a game.
Oh yeah. Well, it's not even that. It's the more saves you do. The whole thing about getting you get more saves. So basically, the best way to make something fail a save is to make it make more checks. So
yeah.
Perhaps they should have kept it to the end of, but then made it like so. I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal though, because it's more now.
It's a change that I can see. I think it's a change that I can see an argument either way for it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The point is now it can benefit your friend. It's more to benefit your friends than you.
Because it does speed half until the next turn, regardless of the saving throw, which can be helpful. So it's like, again.
Yeah, and like literally everything gets advantage against that thing until the start of your next turn.
I mean, Lightning brought up about the damage, though, that Wizards get Finger of Death 78 plus 30 necrotic damage at 13th level. So, like...
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see here. They got a self-restoration, which is fine and not really that helpful. It kind of is. They can deflect energy originally. That gets, eventually that's pretty cool.
I will say, we don't know how much damage it went up to, so we just know that it's previously when you failed was 10d10.
Oh, it starts out as 12d10 now, I think, and halves if you make your save.
Oh, that's...
It used to be drop you to 0 or 10d10 if they failed.
Yeah, that like I would have expected them to go up to 20d10, and then like do half if you know, like something really good like that.
It's 10d12 force damage now. I'm sorry, 10d12. So it's d12s. I think the 20th level ability is the best one they have. They get a bonus to Wisdom and Dexterity 4. One of the other classes gets like a double bonus to that, up to max of 25. That's an odd number, but whatever. But still, those are big boosts to ability scores. 20, cool.
Just balancing purposes prevents you from going. Yeah.
I mean, I think they didn't have great other top tier stuff anyway. So again, it's been like weirdly like mixed bag on it in different ways.
Literally, it's just increase your AC by 4.
A bunch, yeah. Well, I mean, like the class itself. It's like it's a balancing. It's better than it was. Is it like a super big buff? No. It just brings it up from being kind of like.
I mean, I think as a capstone ability, I think it's pretty good because it increases your saves and your AC.
Monks are better now. Monks are better now.
I think they're better overall.
Yeah.
I definitely think they, in some cases, they nerfed. I agree. Like the way of the open palm, I'm still not certain. I'm still not certain it's necessarily that much. Like I agree, it's not so necessary, but it's also just kind of like.
I think it's the thing.
I could see the problem with it.
But it's also like hard to compare abilities at that level for a lot of classes too, so it's kind of like.
So my big thing when it comes to things is the ability to take away someone else's fun, and being able to drop things. Like if you just go and you drop things to 0 hit points every other hit, and you could just do that to everything, it's really gonna take the steam out of other people's sails.
That's I think the other thing that there was a little bit of that argument for like having like 5 attacks and all of them having like stunning fists, you know, because that's
that too. Yeah,
5 different saves something has to make, which does drag on technically.
Yeah, and not to mention you can like if one person makes it, you can switch targets. You can move and then switch targets. You can move in between attacks in 5e, so you can switch targets and just keep going until you stun everyone and then let everyone else wail. And it's kind of like, yay, I'm not able to use my defensive abilities that I put all this extra effort into because we have a monk.
Anyway,
in that sense, I agree taking that out is a good idea, but maybe they could have kept it till the end of the next turn by only making it usable once.
I think there is, like, again, like, the thing that they've tried to fix things as best they can, but, like, you know, Is this something that could have used a little bit more time in the, Unearthed Arcana? Who knows? But they had a date. They had a schedule to put this stuff out. So they're doing it, and we're fine with it. I think it's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Elemental Monk Warrior. We know a lot more about that because they talk about it. It does interesting things that it, like, you add elemental damage to your attacks. Or you make your fist do that, and also you get stretchy hands, I think, or something like that.
I think the idea is like Avatar, you punch and like a fire blast
yeah,
comes out of your hand.
I know. I know someone joked about it being like Mr. Fantastic, but I understand that that's really what it's meant to be.
Yeah, you can enter elemental attunement for 1 focus point at the start of your turn. It doesn't require an action or bonus action. And it lasts for 10 minutes, or until incapacitated.
I give a bunch of... God, I don't know enough about Elemental Fist to know. It's supposed to be improvement. I guess it's better than the original.
I mean...
Look, I'm going to say, like, the original Elemental Warrior Way of the Elements was kind of terrible. So, I mean...
It's just overly complicated, and you had to, like... I think it, like, gave you... Yeah. You just had to, like... Everything did something different, so now it just seems a lot more straightforward.
You used to use points to just cast spells, too.
Yeah, you can also just cast spells, so...
I don't think they have that at this point, then. They're just like, we're just not doing that kind of thing, I guess. Now you can just get an Elemental Burst, which I guess is kind of like casting Fireball, but not. It's not as damaging as Fireball, but I guess you can use it kind of like differently.
Elementism, a new cantrip, so you get a cantrip.
Yes. Cost 2 focus points and a magic action. You'll have you get the Elemental Burst when you need to break a flash through the side of the Elemental Fist. Get a 20-foot radius sphere that does one of the types of energy. Target the sphere. Failed dexterity spell takes
3
damage
rolls of your
equal to
martial
3
arts
rolls of
die.
martial arts, which is a D8 at level 6.
Yeah, so basically, so it'll be like 3d8, or if you upgrade it, it'll be like 3d10, and then 3d12, etc.
And you get more points too.
Not as damaging as Fireball.
And you don't need a Fireball technically, or something like that.
Yeah.
You can still do something like that.
But also, it just costs 2 focus points in your action, so you could do that like a bunch.
Yeah.
You could basically run into a crowd and Fireball, like do mini Fireball.
Yeah. They have a Stride of the Elements, which is 11th level, which gives you fly and swim speed when you activate it.
Plus or movement. This means you're likely to have a baseline fly or swim speed of 50 feet when you receive this feat. Oh yeah, because it's equal to your speed. So yeah, you can go very fast too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, they make a good point that it's like you don't have to get into like people's faces because you can literally fly down, punch from 10 feet away, then fly back up.
And this is nice with the 17th level abilities, you gain resistance to one of the 5 elements listed, and you can change that resistance at the start of each of your turn. That's pretty good, because that means, like, if you, like, hang around with fire normally, and, like, I'm fighting something that uses acid, I will use my start of my turn to change my defenses to acid.
Yeah. That's the real annoying thing about the original build I had for Ada, was, like, I had to choose before activating my ability, and I was stuck with it, and then I have to burn another activation if I wanted to change it.
Yeah. I mean, this is the improvement in that kind of like system. And apparently you can also, like, when you step over in, you can do some elemental damage, which is just like, that's neat. It's not large, but it's like, I mean, it's like one roll of your dice, martial arts dice. It's fine. It's like a d12 damage. You move next to someone, I guess.
Let's see. Yeah, it's a bit less. Bunch of different things, some of which are good, some of which are terrible. Because that's what it was before. It's like you had to, like, how did that work?
I think It's better. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything like super fancy. It's just like a rework that makes it feel like someone uses elements, but nothing like crazy.
Yeah.
It's just
it's more that it's more you're more enhanced by elements rather than just using a bunch of elements.
Yeah.
Although that depends on what this that cantrip does.
That
elementalism.
Because it's new, I can't really tell you much about it.
I know.
Alright, shall we talk about Cleric then for a little bit? I might go quicker on this one, honestly. Try to get quicker through these. So, you do get something chosen at first level for Cleric now.
Apparently someone got a hold of it, but basically it allows you to do, it's basically prestidigitation, but with elemental effects.
Okay.
So you can make air blow, dust stir, sand, shrouds, harmless embers, etc.
So, rather than a subclass of Cleric getting heavy armor training, now you get to choose between two types of builds as Cleric when you start with them. You either get Protector or Thaumaturge. Thaumaturge, you get an extra cantrip, and you gain a bonus to your Intelligence, Arcana, Religion checks equal to your Wisdom modifier, minimum +1, which I think would mean you'd add both Int and Wisdom to those two, from the sounds of that. Or you can get Protector, which you get martial weapons and heavy armor training. So that's kind of neat. You can kind of go like Spelly Cleric or Warrior Cleric, and that doesn't matter on your subclass. It's like a little bit that rethemes it there for options.
Jeez, I'm kind of curious who did that first. Pathfinder, so Pathfinder 2e, I don't know if this was originally a thing, but basically you pick between a cloistered cleric or like a war cleric.
I can tell you the person who actually did that first. It was 3rd edition.
Probably. But yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that like, okay, so 3rd edition did it first.
Yeah.
Was it in Pathfinder?
Yeah.
You can be
combat. Yeah, you can be combat cleric in 1e.
I think
there are archetypes for it.
I'm just saying. Yeah, you literally pick between.
I think the thing is,
or cloistered cleric.
The choices weren't there, but it was like the ability to build into that direction existed with the cleric. It wasn't such a cut and dry. I think 5e didn't have that kind of like choice necessarily. It was built into a lot of subclasses.
You had to get it in the subclass. But
I think
my
for
point,
base cleric up through Pathfinder 1e, kind of we talk about that. Just the way that the cleric was, you could choose to go either of those directions.
Yes.
Then in 2e, it just became more obvious of a choice, and then here it's more obvious of a choice.
Yeah, that's my point though. Is that like Pathfinder 2e was basically like cloistered or priest. Cloistered cleric or war priest. Basically, are you a caster cleric or are you a fighter cleric? And here you get a pick. So I'm just saying. It's very
they may have seen it. I think
I very much doubt it's because of Pathfinder.
Oh, I agree. I doubt it's because of it. I bet it's because people liked the idea of being able to build a life cleric, wanted to build a life cleric with heavy armor.
Yeah.
But
those options were better to not be connected with subclass.
I just find it funny that it's a very similar thing to the way Pathfinder 2e handles it.
So Channel Divinity's kind of evolved. There's still 2 uses of it that you get, just like 2014, but more options. Turn Undead is relatively the same as it was, just a little bit of updating, and they also get this Divine Spark ability that all clerics would get.
Invoke Duplicity is better. Thank goodness.
Oh, you're looking at the subclasses stuff.
I thought we were... Oh, are we on level 2?
I was on level 2.
Sorry.
Talking about Channel Divinity.
As Divine Spark and another way for clerics to use Channel Divinity while not fighting undead. Oh, okay.
You can,
That's actually good, because the base thing for clerics is always undead. If you didn't have undead, half your cleric, you basically only got
it also means with Divine Spark,
channel.
You can choose to heal or harm with that ability, so I guess it takes a step away from just life's full superhero healing, but like it's fine. It's an interesting ability that gives you another option, and I feel like because traditionally a lot of older editions had clerics, just when they had like a channel ability, have that option of heal or harm for any cleric. It just became that, like, oh, channel divinity's healing for life and only life.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's better.
Yeah, so it's basically just you can use channel divinity, which is actually, you know what? I like this because it means you can literally just take an hour rest, and then, like, you can heal people, take an hour rest, and then you have those back up, because channel divinities are short rest.
Yeah. And these are probably, like, I think Life Domain heals more, but it's like an extra option that I can, like, throw out an extra channel.
No, I like that. I like that base cleric has a little bit more healing option, because honestly, I feel like it's very lacking to only have spells.
Yeah.
Because spells are such valuable resources, and it's like, let me kill you for a D8 with a first level spell slot instead of, you know. It's like, yay, that was worth a first level spell slot.
So yeah, Life Domain really, like, Blessed Strike has gone to base ability of a cleric, so it's no longer part of it. They got some new spells, and there are other things to move to level 3. Let's see here. Light Domain, the abilities are level 3, and another spell has been added. Blessing of the abilities are level 3 for Trickery, and you get Mirror Image. Mirror Image has been replaced by Invisibility. Okay.
No, that's unfortunate. Mirror Image is the best.
And now, level 6 Trickery Domain Clerics can now swap places with their illusion whenever they create or move them using a bonus action. That's kind of neat. And at 17th, your illusion grants advantage to you and your allies. Oh, so you can use your illusion to grant yourself some advantage. That's kind of neat.
Yeah. So basically, it can allow you to basically get. I'm curious, because I know I hate it in Baldur's Gate because it can be destroyed. Is that the case in the actual game? I don't think it is.
What illusions? I think they can be.
No, the fact.
They're not.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
While you're looking that up, War Domain has Guiding Bolt as an always prepared spell. Plus,
that's good.
And 6th level War God's Blessing has been changed from a single attack roll, and now allows you to cast Shield of Faith or Spiritual Weapon without a slot. It requires concentration for up to a minute. So they boosted War Domain a little bit too. You do damage to undead. Blessed Strikes, which was in Tasha's Culture Everything, is now a standard feature. Divine Intervention. I think...
Yeah, originally it's not destroyable. So that's one thing in Baldur's Gate that I absolutely hate, is that it's like you put it out and they instantly attack it. Always, it's like, I don't even use this. Yeah, so originally it's not supposed to be destroyable. So yeah, but it can give you advantage, and you can cast spells through it. So that's going to be even better now. So yeah. Like you still have to be. It's basically the only downside though is its concentration. So I don't know if it's still concentration. That's still annoying.
Yeah.
You have to cast it like a concentration spell. So
Divine Intervention feature now allows a player to choose a cleric spell of 5th or less or lower that doesn't require a reaction to cast. You can cast it without expending a spell slot or material component, and it is once per long rest rather than once every 7 days. So it's basically like an extra use of your god casting a 5th level spell or lower for you. Like, hey, Divine Source, can you give me a little boost here? Thank you.
What are we on?
Divine Intervention.
Oh, okay. That far down?
10th level. The other stuff is pretty much the same. Like, Seer Undead is doing damage to Undead. Blessed Strikes is something from Tasha's they're adding into the core. Same with, improved version of it, kind of like there.
Yeah.
So really the only other big change to the Divine Intervention has kind of been reworked. Yeah, so it's once per day you get an extra casting of a spell of your choice that you don't have to prepare. I think that's also the good point about Divine Intervention. That's I can pull a cleric spell that I need for this moment out of my butt. That's actually, I think, a really good flavor for Divine Intervention than one it used to be.
Yeah, I actually like that.
So, cool. That was cleric. I didn't know that was. Okay.
Okay, so then it's down once per long rest. Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. Kind of sad. Yeah, kind of sad that it wasn't, that there is no more divine intervention kind of thing. I would almost like it to have that flavor text as well. You could use this to do this as well. But...
Alright, Bard we can talk about a little bit, because it has been updated also. So, this was an interesting one that I have heard about some changes to it.
Oh, and greater divine inspiration at 20 basically allows you to cast Wish.
So, Bardic Inspiration has been changed the way it works. So, let's see here. Bardic Inspiration lasts for an hour, so your allies don't use it in combat. This will use another D20 test. And you don't roll the Bardic Inspiration dice until after you fail a D20 test. And see if it becomes success then. It has to see and hear you, though, for it to affect it. So that's a change there. So yeah. Inspiration is still determined by Charisma modifier, the same progress as it was, so... Yeah, I think it's the interesting thing that the Bardic Inspiration, it lasts for quite a while, for an hour, and it can be done after the check. So I think those are very, interesting things now. I think are very cool. So, they get Expertise at level 2, which I think, moves Jack of all trades to position. It's a whatever kind of thing, Jack of all trades have been in a different position before. I think Jack of all trades was at level 2 originally, now it's different.
Song of Rest was removed.
Yeah, Song of Rest is gone, so we don't have Song of Rest anymore.
Let me give a reason as to why. Let's go extra hit die roll during a short... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like the change. Honestly speaking, I do like the changes to inspiration. I like the idea of them being kind of like if I add it in, it's after a dice is rolled. I think that's pretty good. That's definitely, I think, an improvement. I'm failing. I can use my Bardic Inspiration to improve that.
It lasts for a full hour.
Yes.
What was it before? Like a minute?
Like a minute, yeah.
It was like a minute or 10 minutes, I forget.
Yeah. So if you give someone the inspiration, it lasts a lot longer now. That's pretty good. So as you said, the colleges, let's just see. College of Dance is the new one, so we'll have to look at, that's the kind of one
and you don't have to roll until you fail the test, so you actually can know you fail before you have to add it in.
I'm not going to dive into College of Dance. If you want to, I'll put this link here that they did talk about it a little bit, so if anyone wants to check that out. There's the link to it. I don't think we can, because that's new. We don't necessarily have to dive into that one, but if you want to take a look at it, that's the new one. College of Glamour adds Charm Person Mirror Image to prepared spells. Give a chance to bestow Charm or Fright on a creature that sees you. Cast an enchantment or illusion. College of Lore. Let's see you. Let's see. With these two spars, use Bardic Inspiration to activate Cutting Words. Your roll is no longer impacted by whether the creature can hear you or they're immune to being charmed. Let's see here. College of Valor can now use a simple or martial weapons as a spellcasting focus. And they get extra attack at level 6. Hey, College of Valor can fight better. And you can now use a cantrip that has a casting time of an action in place of one of those attacks. That's pretty cool. I think College of Valor is kind of awesome now. That sounds like a very cool kind of idea. I like that.
Oh, that's awesome. I like the in place of an attack thing, and I like that they did that with the other one too. Because although that is very, very good, assuming cantrips still scale in the same way.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
Because basically you're just increasing your damage output at that point. Which actually isn't a bad thing.
you now get the Bardic Inspiration back on a short rest and a long rest.
That was so Font of Inspiration was already a thing, but the thing is that now they have a thing where you can also burn a spell slot to gain
that's right.
It's
It's a spell slot to get them back. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Also, I think was Font of Inspiration level 6 before? No, I think it was always level 5.
Here's level 5. Counter Charm's now at level 7. Wait a second. I'm forgetting something here. Okay, so their expertise. The combination of Jack of all trades and expertise is being bestowed at level 2 now, meaning... So what's the change in... I'm sorry, I'll have to look at the changes. If you really get... Because it doesn't really mention if Jack of all trades is the same or different, or, like, what it is, so... Okay.
Well, just saying you get them both at level 2 now, because you used to just get Jack of all trades, which gives you non-proficient things, and now you also get expertise. So Bard is actually very much a skill proficient.
So there is both a.
Oh yeah, I think you used to get expertise way later, is why you only used to get it later. You got one use later, whereas rogues got 2.
I will tell you, Magical Secrets has been both. They call it a buff, but I will also call it a nerf too. Because now it specifically is from Cleric, Druid, and Wizard spell list. And I understand why they did that, because there are spells on things like the Paladin and Ranger list that they don't want a Bard to have, aka Smite. Mind Smite is a spell now. So
yeah, that's true. I would also say Hunter's Mark.
I think yes, which the other thing is, so they don't want a Magical Secrets to allow a Bard to have them. So I can see them doing that. Now you can change out your spell every time you prepare your spells, the options you have, rather than just having some you choose and that's it. So it is both a buff and a nerf. Like, it does limit some options, but you get a versatility group of Cleric, Druid, and Wizard spells now.
But you can still pick Call Lightning, so that's good.
Yeah.
I love Call Lightning. It's
Spirit Inspiration was at 20, it goes to 18, and now they get the Words of Creation at 20th level, where they can get Power Word Kill and Power Word Heal. Oof. Okay. So, alright. That's basically Bard. I kind of like what they did with Inspiration. It's a little bit better. I don't know.
The fact that you can hold on to it until you fail a roll is very good, because it's always annoying where it's like you want to be like, oh, I want to make sure that it's I gave it to you in something that's going to be useful no matter what, like for a really hard check.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Whereas like now it's like, okay, give it to you, and if you fail you can use it, which makes it way better, because it's like you don't have to wait for that good point to use your limited source, where it's like, okay, it lasts an hour, I give it to you, you can decide when it's... I mean, yeah. So...
It's an hour, and you can choose to use it. You don't have to roll until after they fail a test. What I assume that it's after you roll a test, so even if it's I assume you'd be able to use it if you succeeded too. Like if it's something that greater success would matter, which is rare in 5e, but does occur occasionally.
Yeah, 5e doesn't have a lot of that. So
again, I think that's like most of the time it's going to be you save it to get some inspiration within that hour, then you fail something.
I mean, it might only be if you fail, which is fine to me. You can't get better. You'd have to use it ahead of time if you wanted to get better rewards.
Yeah, that's true. So it's hopefully bringing to some success. So yeah, so that's Bard. Interesting kind of moves around. Fairly the same, I'm gonna say. I think that's the thing. I think some of the colleges got buffed, which I think is a good thing because some of them needed it. To balance them out. So that's the big thing I can say on that one. And I guess then we have Sorcerer as the final class to talk about, as a final review of all these. So paste here too. There you go, Sorcerer. Okay. Sorcerers get more spells now. They can prepare cantrip when they level up. So their spellcasting has been, in a way, buffed. Oh, because everybody prepares spells now, so there's no, known spells. Okay.
Wait.
First off, everybody quotation prepares spells now in the spellcast feature.
Oh, I assume they're going to
You still edit your spell list when you level up and only change one spell on your list at a time. So, I mean, it's sort of like, stylistically it's preparing, but it's still kind of the same as it was. That's kind of weird. And you can change one cantrip when you level up, too, in addition to swapping one spell from your prepared list. Okay. Interesting.
The most significant change to spellcasting sorcerer in the 24 handbook is that they can prepare more spells than their 2014 could learn. The fact that they were prepare just as many spells as druid, bard, cleric, and wizard. Okay, so basically they still learn spells innately, but they now can prepare them. So they're going to be able to learn more spells, but now they have to prepare them. So it's kind of like it's kind of like wizard now, where it's like I'm going to assume that you could probably get 2 per level.
I'm guessing you prepare them when you level up, kind of thing. You know, like I've prepared my spells when I've leveled, and then I kind of get my slots the normal way. So it's like it's kind of the same, but also I don't know. It's weird. I want to see the full wording in the thing to really understand how they're trying to say.
This is weird because like they're making it sound like
it's both prepared and not prepared. I don't know. I am confuddled a little bit. Anyway. Innate sorcery is a bonus action to surge magical power. During that time, your spell save DC increases by 1, and you have advantage on attack rolls for sorcerer spells for 1 minute, and use this feature twice per long rest. Okay, so that's kind of like a boost for sorcerers.
Honestly, the innate sorcerer is really nice. Basically, it basically really turns them into the powerful mage. So basically, whereas wizards are diverse, they're going to be powerful. And I like that. It's a bit of a diversification that I think is very worthwhile. Because, like, just the fact that you can... I mean, even that +1... that, like, +1 to a DC is nice, because DCs are very hard to increase. And advantage on all attack rolls is really nice, because that means, like, all the spells that have attack rolls, you're far more likely to hit.
Yeah.
So basically make sure your damage rolls are way better. Yep. And if you have to, like, do something that requires a save, it's also going to be a little bit better.
Meta Magic's been tweaked at 2nd level now. They put the 2 options that were in Tasha's Cauldron into here now. And they have also 2 new options at 10th and 17th level that you unlock. So, basically, there's now 10 meta magic options.
It's really nice, because before you just couldn't change them at all.
Oh yeah, changing them out is really good. Yeah.
I liked the way they did Twin Spell, actually.
Mm-hmm.
The way they changed it. Basically, now for Twin Spell, you increase the spell level by... So you use a spell slot of 1 level higher and 1 focus point. Or 1 sorcery point. So instead of... Which is, I think, very good. It's fine. Like, I mean, you cast Haste of... And this also means you can't cast spells higher than your maximum, so you can't twin a 9th level spell, for instance. I don't think you ever could twin spells above 6th, but maybe you can now. Because I think twinning had that stipulation. But I think that's really worthwhile. I'm also very happy that... like heightened spell is lower, because I feel like that was a bit steep. Careful spell, oh my gosh, is now you just don't take damage if you use careful spell, instead of before where it's just they succeed, meaning they still took half damage on a fail. Or you succeed, so they still just took half damage. So you couldn't use it for offensive spells. You really only used it for things for AoE, things like fear. I actually love using this in Solasta for fear. I'd cast a fear cone with get all my warriors locked in, and then cast fear with that so they wouldn't be affected. But like now you can actually use it for damaging spells, which is nice.
Okay.
I have experience with sorcerers, if you can't tell. Yeah. Even outside of Solasta, I just like sorcerers.
Subclasses.
I like magic casters.
Aberrant Mind, Psionic spells can no longer be replaced with divination or enchantment spells from the sorcerer, warlock, or wizard spell list. Telepathic seems more resilient. Psionic sorcery no longer affects material components of a specific type. So there's some changes, minor changes there. Clockwork sorceries from Tosh is pretty similar. Draconic sorcery has been slightly improved. New spells, more dragon-like features. The Resilience AC now includes your Charisma modifier, and you get a new caption feature, Dragon Companion, that allows you to cast the Summon Dragon, the Summon Draconic Spirit, basically, once per day. Wild Surge is now triggered on a 20 instead of 1 for Wild Magic, and the Wild Surge table has been reorganized as all of its effects are familiar. Yeah. It's got some upgrades, organizing similar effects into their own mini rollable tables. Don't worry, you can still transform into a potted plant.
Wait, what?
It was on the Wild Surge.
Magic. Wild magic, okay. Yep.
Yep. So, let's see. Sorcerer's Restoration. We'll talk about that one. So, not a lot of changes to some classes. At least the ones we should. Once per day, you can regain extended sorcery points, equal to half your sorcerer level, rounded down on a short rest. So sorcerers get something back on a short rest too. Sorcery Incarnate.
Oh, okay. So they made it. They made it now. I do want to go back to Wild Magic Surge. So it now automatically Tides of Chaos now automatically triggers. I think before that was one where it's like, at your GM's discretion.
Okay. So, Tides of Chaos can use it now automatically. It does a Wild Magic Surge. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think.
Oh, and the new Capstone feature allows you to use a Wild Magic Surge effect of your choice once per day. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, the one annoying thing about Wild Magic, hopefully they took out some of that language, was that, as dumb as it sounds, the fact that most of it often said, at your GM's discretion, this could happen. So basically your GM controlled your abilities.
Yeah.
Because your GM could just basically say, yeah, no, wild magic is annoying. I don't want, the wild magic isn't affecting you today. You know? Which is dumb.
So, Sorcery Incarnate 7th level, you can use 2 sorcery points to gain back the use of your innate sorcery, the buff ability. And innate sorcery allows you to use up to 2 meta-matched options on each spell at that point in time. That's kind of cool. So, you can now get like a twin Titanfold monster or something like that. Quick and distant blindness deafness at 7th level. And then it's just up to 20th level you get Arcane Apotheosis.
Yeah,
you can use
I'm
one
glad
meta
that
match
triggers
option without exploding.
now.
Oh, so that at 20th level you can use a meta match option once per turn without expending sorcery points.
Oh, that's cool. I also like that you can do multiple at
Meta
one
matches.
point. Yeah, multiple meta matches. What level is that? Level
7th level you can use 2 at once.
Yeah, 7th. Yeah, that's really nice because like imagine careful extended. I'd love that.
And you don't have to take the cheapest one for the Arcane Apotheosis. So if you're using 2, you can take the most expensive one for free.
Yep.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. So, yeah. Okay. You know what? It got a little bit of buff, got a little changes. It's kind of the same.
I think this one's overall a buff. Overall.
I
don't know
what
I don't know what it means by like the whole everyone's a prepared caster now. I feel like that's a little bit. The wording might not be quite what it sounds like it to me. It's just weird. But other than that,
there's a lot of
like,
language.
I think everything else is a buff.
It'd be nice.
Yeah, I feel like they just didn't describe that very well in this article.
I agree.
Yeah, in fact, this one might be a video. This one might be a video I need to go watch. Did they make a video about this?
There might be someone that's talking about it. I'm sure someone's talked about Sorcerer. I haven't seen the people that have talked about it. I know there's some. Who's the hour-long deep dives? I don't remember.
Yeah, they do. They just didn't link it in the article.
They do have the video. Yeah, they do have video about those. But like, I think. I remember who it is. There's someone that does like very long reactions. There's a couple of people that do very long reactions. I like the shorter ones if you can find them, but like they kind of give you the basic summary of them. But there are some ones that do really deep dives into these. If you really want to.
I mean, my big thing is I just want to. I just want to know what that means, and they will probably explain it more in the video.
Yes.
Also, I just realized the image for the sorcerer is actually kind of a fun idea. It's the tiefling has like hair wrapped around the horns, and that's actually a very unique idea for a hairstyle for someone with horns.
True.
Never really thought about that, but yeah, if you had horns, you definitely potentially use them in part of your hairstyle. Anyway, sorry, that's a kind of...
Well, Momo, you've been listening in on us. Have you learned anything about the upcoming...
I wasn't paying attention.
Ah, damn it. It's fine.
Alright, I was doing other stuff.
It's fine. I think we finished up here. I think we can talk about our week in gaming, and I think we'll just make the deeper discussion this week that
yeah, but that's kind of been the past few weeks. It's been the 2024 stuff. Go and deep dive into it.
It's fine. It's slight upgrades.
Last week
on
we did
everything.
a little bit. We did something because like they released very little, but this week they released a lot again. So
they finished off the rest of the classes. So, did anybody do anything last Sunday?
Nope.
Okay. How about Monday?
Nope.
We were supposed to have Joe's game last Sunday, actually, but he canceled.
Yes, because of various reasons. Good reasons.
Family, hanging out with family before we went off to college. It's fair.
No, his, not college, his, basically stepson moved with his girlfriend out to North Dakota.
I thought it was college related.
No.
No.
No? Okay, I'm
done. The thing is, his girlfriend had come and visit, and they had been kind of talking about something like that, but they made the decision just randomly, like a week before they were going to do it. You know, so it's like, oh, you could have let us know way ahead of time. You know,
that sounds like not a red flag at all. Sorry, this is my personal opinion of like, we decided, but anyway, it's fine. People can make their own decisions, but like, I'm just like,
I do believe that boy is quite impulsive when he makes decisions like this. So
work out, I'm sure.
I hope it does for him. Anyway, so yeah, Tuesday. I haven't do anything on Tuesday.
Not yet.
Yep. So it's eventual. And then Wednesday we had Crimson Queen, which River joined us. I know River's going to be around with Lightning, but I want to talk to everybody if River wants to stay around for the back end of the adventure, just wants to be here for a couple of sessions. I'll just have to talk to everybody about that.
I mean, part of me's like, I'll be honest, like, it would be nice to have someone more interactive than Tavel.
Tavel will be there, but yes, Tavel doesn't do a lot. I agree on that one. I understand. It's very understandable why, but it is early in the session, we get some Tavel. Later in the session, we do not.
Yeah.
Game's just too late.
Yeah, it's too late.
What's the big problem?
It's a
realization.
realization.
I can do earlier, but...
Well, again, we have to wait for Joe's.
Yeah, Joe's the main reason it's later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, because he does get off. Yeah, so...
So, we'll figure it out. Anyway, anybody do anything on Thursday?
No.
Okay. How about yesterday?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
I only have one D&D game right now.
Yeah, the closest
Until
I did to doing
Monday.
something D&D is finishing off Solasta today, or at least the first campaign of Solasta.
Yeah, I did world building, I guess. That's about it.
I did too. I did that on stream on Friday.
I figured out some of what you're going to be doing for this dungeon. I just have to put it together.
I gotta figure out how to get to the boneyard.
I mean,
Apparently.
it is a very look.
I figured out. I mean, I just have to go buy a scroll and a tuning fork.
Yeah.
Those are things just readily available in this universe.
Well, actually, you just have to get a tuning fork and then go over to Zardis and be like, "Hey, Zardis, can you
Yeah, that's true.
plane shift me?" The scroll would be you learning to cast it if you wanted to, but I think Zardis, if you just asked,
I'm pretty sure that was for Asma, by the way. But I'm
No,
not gonna
I am
know
too.
until I talk to her for real, I guess.
Yeah, no, I'm fairly certain that was too. I was like, Wait a second.
Which isn't the first time this has happened to me in a D&D game. However, it's weird that it keeps happening.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently I need to make a character that worships a god.
It's good in Pathfinder because the gods will actively talk to their high-level worshippers because they are just living creatures.
You are 13th level, too.
We are of level enough where the gods have been like, what the fuck is this person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing? Yeah, you are.
Why are you trying to kill yourself?
It's like,
wow, you've gained 13 levels in only a month? 2 months?
You've gone through some shit. That's actually the adventure of life. Is usually they just stay at low levels until all of a sudden they go through some shit and jump up a billion levels. You know, it's sort of like, oh man, yeah, look,
yeah, but it's not just straight up not uncommon for a cleric to just meet their actual god in a Pathfinder game.
That's very true. The gods are definitely interfering in stuff often. Pathfinder world.
Yeah, so...
Yeah. I guess that's the week. I did some tabletop stuff. It's going to be coming up on YouTube throughout this week. I'm spreading it out a little bit just because of the work week off, where I'm really still the new week is the only thing I'm taking off from streaming to do behind the scenes stuff while I do all my other life stuff and have a little bit more time to myself next week. So.
Yeah, and I've been actively preparing for a Pathfinder game. I'm gonna run a game, ideally for some randos, and I'm gonna try and do it twice. Once, so I want to do it once. I want to do the same thing once with the actual normal progression, just to get used to Pathfinder, and then I want to do it again with the adjusted level system, where you take levels out of everything. Because I'd rather play that way, but I need to obviously toy with it based on what they say and what I've read of people. It's like, it's got really bad. It's much harder to crit in a system that's very built around critting. So part of me's all like, I could do a thing. My thought was I could do a thing where I make it plus or minus 5 rather than plus or minus 10. And then I also do 2d10 instead of 1d20 to add a curve. So you're more likely to crit, but it's going to be a little bit short of a curve. So you actually have to be good at something. That might actually make it work. But I have to toy with that, and I'll probably have to do some play tests.
Sounds cool. I'm going to be spending part of this week definitely building an entire dungeon, putting an entire dungeon into Roll20 because I have to put the entire thing in because you can actually kind of go anywhere. I want to say, you should learn how to line up the grid better. There's a way to do it in Roll20.
Who cares?
I'll have to talk to you about it. I've been doing it very loosely. This one, because it's a larger map, I might try to do it. It's it's just the thing is, some of them, it's me trying to figure out the proper size for the grid to that, because I have to resize them,
No, and that's the thing. In Roll20, there's a feature where you can basically select a set of... You can basically say, I want the grids to be this size.
Oh, because I'm just pasting a map into the map thing from an image.
Yeah.
The map isn't always... I'm going to tell you, Pathfinder maps aren't always a full grid.
No.
They're always a smaller grid that you don't know where it goes out to the edges. A lot.
All it has to do is look close enough, and then it's fine.
Yeah. It's not an easy snap because it's not like 20 by 10. It's like 20 by 20 in the center, and then there's an amount on the outsides that you don't know how much it exactly is. They don't show.
So my point is that in Roll20 you can basically say, I want the grids to be... So you can select a 3x3 section of grid and say, I want the grids to be this size. And the grids will be that size, and then you can drag the map to make it so the grid is
I understand what you're saying. You can measure it out using the map, and then use that information to align it to there. I got you.
Yes.
That's a trick that it would be interesting to learn. I now understand what you've been trying to tell me. That sounds like a very good thing. Okay. We'll have to talk about that.
We will.
All right. That does sound like a very useful skill.
I taught Joe how to do it in 10 minutes.
Okay. maybe like one of these evenings this week I'll sit down and we'll talk about that. Anyway, or one of these days. Anybody have any shout-outs? Momo, do you have any shout-outs?
Shout out to... I don't have anything to shout out. I've been playing Final Fantasy for most of it. You're not going to see me.
I understand this.
I had an expansion to get through before everyone spoiled it.
I understand.
And I'm...
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry. I'm DiamondWyrm. You can find twitch.tv/DiamondWyrm or at DiamondWyrm on Twitter. Probably this week I'm going to be playing a lot of Warframe because it's TennoCon next week and I want to just play the game a bit. Get into it. So we'll probably be doing that on my streams.
I'm going to resist the temptation to play Elden Ring all week, though I might just farm some levels because my build is awful and I just need...
Dude, that's where I'm at right now because I keep getting my ass beat by Moog and I just want to get to the goddamn DLC.
Look, I may have been like an all magic build, so of course my build is awful.
Fine at high level. At low level, that's a little rough.
Yeah, I'm getting to that level where it's okay because like
what's your main spell?
I usually use it depends on the situation. I use a lot of the shootout rocks.
All right, so I'm gonna tell you. Do you know where in Caleb the sorcery town is?
I think so.
Go there and get Knight's Comet because it's the best spell in the game.
I don't have enough intelligence for Knight's Comet.
Yeah, you should work on getting that. Knight's Comet and the Spiral Glintstone will carry you through the entire game.
I do use the Spiral a bunch on the slow-moving enemies.
Those two will carry you through the entire game.
Yeah.
And then obviously the big face laser, but that has a really high end cost.
Look, I sometimes just have also the Black Flame for my incantations to toss
Black Flame
out.
is like bad though.
It's fun though. I know it's not great.
It's bad because it's fire.
There's some enemies that's good against. Basically, there's like some things that are resistant to magic. I use it on, so they're weak to that. But also, I just use.
Are you doing Faith, ints?
I'm doing Faith int Arcana.
Oh, that's rough base game. Because I don't think base game has Faith int items.
I have no Arcana powers yet that I found that I want to use. I've got some Faith ones because I got the ones that like heal me of like status ailments, so I do those a lot. That's how I got through the Lake of Rot, just by spamming that.
The DLC added stuff that scales off of Faith and Int.
Oh, that's good.
I don't think the base game has any of it.
Anyway, we should cut that here. Anyway, my stuff, link below for social media links and places. Go check out my YouTube if you're on YouTube. Go check out my Twitch if you're on Twitch. I'll be doing Next Thing's Crimson Queen next Wednesday at 9, and then Discussing Tabletop next week. I'll be back for that show, and we'll see if some of these people are here with me for that one. So... that's all that's going to be next week, other than, stuff coming up on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll still see content. I'm going to upload this on the normal day of Monday. So, yeah. Alright, everybody. Have a great one. See you next time. Farewell. Goodbye.